Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really critical chapter from LSAT Test Prep Mastery, all about performance rehearsal. We're going to move way beyond just glancing at your score. We're going to learn how to turn every single practice test into a powerful, strategic weapon for test day.
So let's just get right to the heart of it, the challenge that every LSAT student faces. You can know logic games inside and out, you can spot an argument's flaw from a mile away, but can you do it consistently when the clock is ticking and the pressure is on? This whole explainer is about closing that gap, the gap between knowing the material and actually performing when it matters most. And here's how we're going to get you there. We've got 5 key stages. First, we'll talk about why this is so important. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of creating the perfect test day conditions. After that, it's all about execution, followed by, honestly, the most crucial step, the review. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into your own personal path to mastery.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1. So, why are full-length simulated tests just completely non-negotiable for your prep? I mean, what do they really give you that just doing a few timed sections here and there can't?
Well, it's because the LSAT isn't just a knowledge test, it's a performance exam. Seriously, think of it like a musician's recital or a big game. You can practice your scales or run drills all day long, but you have to rehearse the entire performance from beginning to end under the exact same conditions you'll face on the big day. These simulations build 4 absolutely critical skills that you just can't get from isolated drills. First, stamina. The LSAT is a mental marathon, plain and simple. Second, timing precision. Managing your pace across 4 whole sections is a totally different beast. Third, real confidence, the kind that comes from knowing you've been there and done that. And finally, self-awareness. You start to see exactly when your brain gets tired or where those little bits of anxiety start to creep in.
All right, so now that we get why simulation is so vital, let's talk about how to do it right. It's time to build your own personal performance arena by copying the official test environment as precisely as you possibly can.
First things first, your physical space. You need a silent, isolated spot. And no, a coffee shop doesn't count. No interruptions. Get yourself a good chair, not the couch, and decent lighting. Your desk? It should have only what you're allowed to have. Laptop, scratch paper, pencil, water, and a timer. That's it. Even controlling the room temperature can make a difference in keeping you focused.
Now for the digital side, you've got to be just as strict. You have to be using the official LSAC Law Hub platform so you get totally comfortable with the interface. Once the 35-minute section starts, you never, ever pause it. You take that official 10-minute break, no more, no less, and hey, for a really authentic rehearsal, you should even sit in silence for a few minutes before you start, just to get used to those pre-test jitters.
Okay, the stage is set, conditions are perfect. Now let's talk execution. This is all about actively managing your mental resources, your time, your energy, and your focus while you're in the thick of it.
And this is so cool because it makes pacing really concrete. Just telling yourself to go faster is useless. What you need are hard checkpoints. So, for a logical reasoning section, for instance, you want to be hitting about 9 questions by the 12-minute mark, and then around 18 questions by the 24-minute mark. This is how you know if you're on track in real time.
And look, your mental game is every bit as important as your pacing. Before you click start, take 2 full minutes for some calm, deep breathing. When you feel those butterflies, don't call it anxiety, reframe it. Call it performance energy. Visualize yourself finishing a section, feeling good with time to spare. And if your mind starts to wander to, oh no, how am I doing? You have to forcefully pull your attention back to the single question right in front of you.
Whew, you've finished the test. You're probably wiped out. But whatever you do, don't just close the laptop. This next part is, without a doubt, the most important step in the whole process, the post-test review. This is where the real learning happens.
And here's the crucial point. Your raw score is just a number. It's a data point. The real gold is in figuring out the why behind that number. Just taking test after test without digging deep is how you get stuck. It's the analysis of your performance that's going to fuel real lasting improvement.
So, to make your review truly effective, you need a framework. Ask yourself these 4 critical questions after every single test. 1. What were my content weaknesses? Pinpoint the exact question types you got wrong. 2. Where did my timing break down? Did I really spend 4 minutes on one question? 3. Where did my mental or emotional game falter? Did I panic in the logic game section? And finally, the most important one. What specific, concrete adjustments will I make next time?
The best way to answer those questions is with a detailed error log.
And this isn't just a list of wrong answers. It's about spotting patterns. Over time, you might notice, hey, I consistently mess up unless statements, or my focus always tanks on the last reading passage. That is the data you need to fix the root cause of the problem.
All right, let's bring it all home. How do you weave these high-stakes simulations into your study plan so that you're actually building momentum and walking into test day feeling like a master?
Your schedule needs to be strategic. So, about 6 to 8 weeks out, start with 1 full-length test a week. When you're about 4 weeks out, you're going to ramp that up to 2 tests a week, leaving a few days in between for that deep review we talked about. Then, in the last 10 days or so, take 2 final tests under perfect conditions, and then ease off. You want to be fresh, not fried.
And please, remember this key difference throughout your entire prep. The goal is never, ever sheer volume. Anyone can just grind through dozens of practice tests. The goal is strategic review. Every test has to be followed by a tough, honest analysis that helps you refine your strategy for the next one. That's the real engine of improvement.
So the big takeaway here is to completely change how you think about these simulations. They are not just tests where you get a score. They are your full dress rehearsal for the main event. And they are your strategic laboratory, the place where you experiment, you gather data, you perfect your pacing, and you build that rock-solid confidence.
And that really leaves us with this final, crucial idea. It's not about how many practice tests you take. It's about how much you deliberately learn from every single one. That focused learning is what turns a scary challenge into just another day at the office. So the only question left is, are you ready to stop just practicing and start rehearsing?